Hey, sup? Welcome to your next dose of badassery.
Hey Gia, did you know? India is the second largest English-speaking country in the world. What? They don't always get it right.
Oh, well, no one's perfect. Hey, but did you know with a population of 1.2 billion people, it's the largest democracy in the world?
Damn, that's a lot of votes.
And a lot of traffic.
Also, 70% of the world's spices are produced there.
Tasty.
Speaking of tasty, Freddie Mercury was of Indian descent.
Guess you should have guessed that, because those eyebrows are on fleek.
And look at that stash and that Bollywood pizzazz.
Speaking of stashes, Indian police officers get raises for keeping lip cozies.
And they have marijuana milkshakes called pump.
Oh, damn. Have you tried one of those, Gia?
No. And then weddings, though.
Girl, they always make me hungry.
Yeah, it's a party until the bill comes.
And can we talk about the fact that 11% of the world's gold is owned by Indian housewives, since it's usually gifted to them on their weddings?
Those ladies are hella blinged out.
Hella and hella progressive. Speaking of gold, the Golden Temple serves 100,000 people a day, regardless of class, color, or religion.
In World War II, India had the largest volunteer army of 2.5 million soldiers.
Concepts of civil disobedience were popularized there.
There are arts, music, and architecture traditions going back centuries.
And let's not forget about Bollywood. It's $1.2 billion a year movie industry that puts out over 1,000 movies and musicals a year.
That's a lot of drama.
And a lot of awesome. Okay, hold on. We ain't done yet. It's not all singing, dancing, and marijuana milkshakes. Like any group of humans anywhere, ever, India has its problems. Big problems. In India, a woman is reportedly raped every 15 minutes. Multiply that by 24/7, 365 days a year. And keep in mind the majority of rape cases still go unreported.
That's more than 35,000 a year that are reported. And a lot of them are very violent in nature, with women often being beaten, gang raped, or set on fire afterwards.
Seriously, we wanted to start off on a lighter topic, but due to recent events in Bangalore on New Year's Day 2017, where a group of men openly and aggressively molested women on the streets, we felt that our first segment had to be dedicated to talking about India's sexual abuse problem and what people are doing to combat it.
Incidences like Bangalore and the Delhi rape case, high levels of female infanticide, domestic abuse, and dowry-related incidences have proven that this is a very deeply embedded problem. It's even in the legal language.
Section 354 of India's Penal Code, which, by the way, dates back to 1860, defines rape as any intent by a man to outrage a woman's modesty. First, what the heck does modesty even mean? I mean, is modesty like a code word for vagina that I didn't know about? If I were to name my vagina anything, it would be Missy Elliott, because she is a badass.
Actually, modesty is defined in the Penal Code. Modesty is the attribute of the female sex that she possesses from her very birth. This essentially entrusts women to be guardians of this concept of purity, which they must be responsible for until marriage, when their husband then becomes the guardian of their purity. They're not free to be sexual beings in their own right. The concept of consent does not exist here, because women, if they actually willingly participate in sex, they're considered to be tarnished and unwholesome women. It's considered to be socially so repulsive that, in a lot of ways, it's worse than a legal punishment. And under Section 375 of the Penal Code, marital rape isn't even considered a crime. I fought with my dad about this a lot, and honestly I can't even handle talking about it right now, so just read our blog for more details on that.
The language in India's legal code pushes this image of a woman as something to be preserved or protected, a delicate being whose delicacy can be taken away or tarnished or outraged by a man. Sort of like how in Western society we use terms like being deflowered or having your cherry popped.
Socially and culturally, consent is not a concept that people understand. It can have a lot to do with the lack of education, but honestly, it's a lot to do with the religious, patriarchal society that they come from and cultural norms that have developed over centuries. And a lot of times the police officers don't even acknowledge it.
ਬੰਦੇ ਦਾ ਤੇ ਤੀਵੀਂ ਦਾ ਫਾਸਲਾ ਆ ਉਹ ਇੰਡੀਆ 'ਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਆ ਇੱਥੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਵਾਲੀ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਤੀਵੀਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਦੇ ਮਿਲ ਸਕਦੀ ਸਹੀ ਜੇ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਸੱਚੀ ਗੱਲ ਦੱਸਾਂ ਹਨਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੋਸਟਲੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਸ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਤੀਵੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਤੀਵੀਆਂ ਦਾ ਇਹ ਆ ਵੀ ਚਲੋ ਜੀ ਘਰ ਦਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਰੀ ਚਲੋ ਰੋਟੀ ਪਾਣੀ ਖਾਈ ਚਲੋ ਸਮਝ ਗਏ ਗੱਲ ਨੂੰ? ਹੈਨਾ?
And so even if the law says one thing, it's not being implemented.
You can increase sentencing and make law stricter, but a harder slap on the wrist isn't going to be a hit on the mind. For change, we have to change how women are valued in Indian society. And that's going to take work from the bottom up.
And how about y'all just hop off my cooch for a second and just consider the fact that you shouldn't touch things that don't belong to you. Because newsflash, we ain't property. And America is not free from these types of views either. We often give our sisters and daughters cans of pepper spray because we know that they could be in danger, but we much less give boys talks about consent, respect, and just basic decency. So before you get all high and mighty, check yourself.
Alright, hold up. Don't be so dramatic. Yeah, shit's fucked up, but we've got people fighting for change. One such example out of the multitudes of social activists fighting for change are the pink-clad ladies of the Gulabi gang.
This group was formed back in 2006 by Sampath Lal Devi and is more of a political and social action group now and less of a gang, but they still laying the smackdown on injustice. Sampath Lal grew up in Banda, one of India's most impoverished regions, with more than 40% of the population living below the poverty line, trapped in the unending cycles of hardships, drought, and illiteracy. She was the eldest of 4 children, but only her brothers were sent to school. So like a total BAMF, she taught herself how to read and write.
Their efforts include reducing corruption in local politics and law enforcement, where cases of violent rape and abuse are often ignored, increasing efficacy of food rations, raising tuition for girls to go to school, handling dowry disputes, pensions for widows.
And they've had a very controversial way of dealing with things. I mean, like beating people up and throwing chili powder on them. And normally I'm a pacifist, but after reading about all the injustice and sexual violence that these women have faced, even from law enforcement, before they actually try to defend themselves, I was all on board with the pretty aggressive doling out of justice. Finish him.
And this is how badass they are. They once surrounded an entire power station where the workers were refusing to provide electricity to the villagers, and the ladies in pink surrounded this power station and refused to let the workers leave until they turned the electricity back on.
Electrifying. And the incidences of actual beatings are actually pretty rare, especially now, since they've kind of formed a conflict resolution method. They first try to implement peace talks and negotiations. If that doesn't work, they report it to the police. If that still doesn't work, then they resort to public humiliation and beatings. #earned.
They've had tremendous success in starting up local action groups and small businesses and educating people. Even Bollywood picked up on their vibe and didn't dramatize it at all.
Rape isn't about sex, it's about power, and these women have been taking theirs back.
No one wants to fight a powerful victim, and these women are changing the culture from the bottom up.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Our country and the world have been facing big questions lately. We found the story of women who had nothing and no one coming together for a better way of life. It was a really inspirational one.
So we dedicate this first segment of Badass Bitches to the Gulabi gang. And we hope that their message of being kind, curious, just, and resilient, and tough just inspires you to go out there and be your own badass bitch.
Whether it's getting involved by donating money to causes you believe in or joining local groups, no matter is too small to be involved in.
And remember to check out the links down below for more information on what we talked about.
Also check out the link to our bio for more badassery and a further synopsis of our own perspectives written out in more detail.